We have this one saved as lines. If you could make another file new, and it'll be in the same tabloid, same setting, should be fine. So let's just create, and there is a new document. And we'll call this one text if we want to save that. Okay, so we're in the untitled right now. We have the line. We'll use the one titled. So the type tool is another thing that you will definitely use for Illustrator, okay, or in your presentation drawings. So this one, if you click on that tool, a cursor will pop up, and you'll note right here, well it says all the similar things, but right here it says Myred Pro. That is your font type. So you can select anything else. Let's just select Arial for right now. Regular 12 point, click in the area, and then automatically the newer version of Illustrator will put in a lorem ipsum. Lorem ipsum is a placeholder. Okay, the people who used to do copy sets, which means they're putting advertisements or whatever together, they used to use these lorem ipsum. If you're putting together a website, lorem ipsum is used just as a filler of an area for text. Okay, so if you just start typing something, okay, and click to get out of it, that would just be the simple type tool. You can always take this thing and change the font, change the change how the width of the type and all, or change the size of the font. Use the justify, center justify, right justify, left justify, and you can even put this into a weird warp thing if you want to as well. You have these tools which you recognize as, okay, if I want it in the center of the page vertically, you can do so. But yeah. Okay, so that's the simple type tool. If you want to use an area type tool, you will have to set up the area first. So instead of using a perfect square, let's shoot for an ellipse or something. Okay, and with no fill, we'll keep the stroke on just so that we could see what's there. Okay, and using the area type tool, if you smush down on the type tool, area type tool, you select the shape itself, and then the fonts will basically propagate. Okay, so the lorem ipsum is, like I said, a placeholder, so it's just putting in nonsense. So you could always type more nonsense in, or actually type something. Okay. If we do it in a little bit more neater area, so like if you have a page set up with a area for your text to go into, you can actually use that shape to fill in the font. Okay, oops. And we'll do this a little bit later, but if you type over it, if you keep going, you'll note that we have this area right here, and you'll see this little red box. That means like, hey, you set this area, but you went way over. So if you open this up a little, or if you make the shape a little bit bigger, it would show up, and then that red dot would disappear. Okay. or you could select another area, and this part always messes me up, so forgive me if I get this part wrong. Let's see, do another shape, and then select this path with that. Oh, what was it? Hit. Okay, I forgot how to do this. While you're in your type tool still, in this area, the actual area, if I select on that little box and then hit the area, make another shape, if I select the area, oh man. So since I'm screwing up so bad, we will go on to another tool. Okay, the area, the type on a tool, on a path tool. Remember how we selected a line, or maybe even with a pen tool, we made some curvy areas, right? Yeah. But let's turn the fill off so that we just have a line. Okay. So using the area type in a path tool, if we click on this thing, if we click on a path, you should be able to follow that, whatever path that you made. Sometimes this is handy if you want to make a interesting diagram and such, but other time if you're just trying to be cute, I wouldn't recommend putting this thing. Alright. Another tool that's behind there is a vertical type tool. Usually we do not in architecture school use vertical type. That is, if we click, the letters would always appear. What happens when we actually use a vertical type tool, let's put it in all caps so we see this a little bit better. A, B, C, I said all caps. Cap lock, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. I think I got that right. Okay, if you look at this thing, kind of take note that each text has a width, right? So some of them, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, we're all fine up to the H, but then I is a single line right there. That kind of screws up your, if you want to do a presentation without an I in it, I guess it might be okay, but this tends to screw up all of your spacing. So like if you did choose a font that has all of the width of the type fixed, it should be okay, but like I said, this starts to look a little bit more like a weird amoeba shape as a line itself. So we typically in architecture school we do not use a vertical line. Okay, the vertical type tool, it's the same thing as vertical type on a path tool. It's the same thing as a type on a path tool, except it's putting the letters vertically. Again, we try not to use that one as well. Okay, but here is something we'll use. If we put Control T, so Control T will bring up another palette. We could always find this palette in View, in Window, in I think it was Type. This will bring up the similar palette. You can always dock it in this space. I usually keep it separate so that I can get rid of it when I don't need it, because I usually don't need this thing. Most of the time I don't use this thing, but when I do at least I could turn it on or off. You have the character palette and the paragraph palette. Paragraph palette goes much more beyond the simple menu tab that we have here. We have all of the justification and as well as the font, the spacing between the lines and such. But let's go back to the character palette right now, and we have this thing, something right here. Select the something, and then remember in your loft presentation that maybe you should take your text and put it further apart. Well, that is called kerning on most software things, or most type copy people. So if we go here and, well, let's just type it in, or let's just put one in there, 100. Notice the spacing of the letters move further apart. If we put 200, it's even further apart. If we go to the negative direction, whoops, select negative direction, it's going to put it all smushed together. Mainly in our presentation drawings, we might have a little bit more space between the text to fill out the border or such a little bit better, and to give a little bit more of a space between the letter to give your eyes a place to rest. Instead of letters being so close together, you can have this thing a little bit further apart. Okay, you can change the font size right here as well. So all the things that you could do up here, this is a little bit more more specific. You can change the spacing between the fonts and such, as well as the vertical shape. Okay, so this kerning part is what you'll probably be using most in this character tool. So if you want something more than 200, you can actually type it in. So you say 500, and it will do so. 1000, and it'll do that. So if you don't see the preset, you can just type it in there. Okay. And for most of our drawings, this will come in handy.